With Ford India announcing that it would be shutting its operations in the country, there was quite a flutter in the automobile segment. The government recently announced a scrapping policy, but besides the scrapping policy, there are other rules which are applicable in states, especially the capital.
Person, this is the need of the time right now. So people need to educate it because a lot of transporters are not aware of the mathematics, the calculation. What they believe is डीजल का खर्चा आदमी का पगार मतलब हो गया हमारा costing. But there are 100 hidden costs which they need to be aware of.
So the question is, if before pointing a finger at anybody and saying you are not doing your XYZ job as an organization, what am I doing as an organization?
Corrections, maybe we can implement a lot of IT in the right now, whatever in the association, a lot of things we can do with the softwares, programs, and we can educate members with the IT.
Good morning friends, मैं हूं गिरीश मीरचंदानी और एक बार फिर आप सबका स्वागत है ट्रांस इंडिया में। रियल पीपल, रियल इमोशंस। वेलकम बैक फ्रेंड्स। दोस्तों, हम अक्सर बात करते हैं कि देश में स्लो डाउन है, इकोनॉमी में स्लो डाउन है, लेकिन एक चीज़ या एक सेगमेंट जहां पर स्लो डाउन बिल्कुल नहीं है वो है रोड कंस्ट्रक्शन, नेशनल हाईवे कंस्ट्रक्शन। जी हाँ, द गवर्नमेंट हैज़ बीन कंस्ट्रक्टिंग रोड्स एट अ वेरी फास्ट पेस। इनफैक्ट पिछले 6 महीनों में द गवर्नमेंट हैज़ कंस्ट्रक्टेड ओवर 3000 किलोमीटर्स ऑफ नेशनल हाईवेज। जी हाँ, 3300 किलोमीटर से ज़्यादा नेशनल हाईवेज पिछले 6 महीने में बनाई गई हैं। नितिन गडकरी जी के अनुसार जो डेली कंस्ट्रक्शन रेट है नेशनल हाईवेज का वो 21.8 किलोमीटर है। लेकिन अगर नितिन गडकरी जी के एस्पिरेशंस की बात करें तो वो चाहते हैं कि रोज़ इंडिया में 100 किलोमीटर नेशनल हाईवेज बननी चाहिए। जी हाँ, एवरी डे 100 kilometers of new national highways should be constructed in India. What does this mean for road transport? दोस्तों, कई पहलू हैं इसके। सबसे पहले ट्रकों की मूवमेंट जो है वो तेज़ हो जाएंगी, बेहतर सड़कें मिलेंगी और इसके फ़ायदे आप सब जानते हैं। मूवमेंट फास्ट होगा, डीजल कंजम्पशन कम होगा, आपके ट्रक का मेंटेनेंस कम होगा, लेकिन साथ ही साथ टोल टैक्स भी बढ़ेगा। बट प्रोग्रेस एंड सर्विस बोथ कम एट अ कॉस्ट। रोड ट्रांसपोर्ट कुछ सालों से कॉस्ट के बोझ के तले दबा जा रहा है। डीजल महंगा होता जा रहा है और टैक्सेस भी बढ़ते गए हैं। बट व्हाट इज़ द वे फॉरवर्ड? हमने कई ट्रांसपोर्टर्स से बात की, कई एसोसिएशन प्रेसिडेंट से बात की। जो एक सोल्यूशन निकल के आ रहा है वो है कि हमें अपने फ्रेट रेट्स पर ध्यान देना होगा। हालांकि गवर्नमेंट स्तर पर एसोसिएशंस बात कर रही हैं कि डीजल के प्राइसेस में कटौती हो, डीजल पे जो एक्साइज ड्यूटी है और स्टेट टैक्सेस है उसमें कटौती हो, लेकिन ये शायद मुमकिन नहीं है, नॉट इन द नियर फ्यूचर एट लीस्ट। द गवर्नमेंट हैज़ मेड इट एम्पली क्लियर दैट इट नीड्स फंड्स फॉर वेरियस रीजंस, एंड व्हाट ईजी वे टू कलेक्ट टैक्स देन टैक्सेशन ऑन फ्यूल। जी हाँ, सबसे आसान तरीका गवर्नमेंट के लिए टैक्स कलेक्ट करने का है फ्यूल पर टैक्स। इसमें टैक्स कलेक्शन का खर्चा जो है वो ज़ीरो है और टैक्स जो है वो बहुत ज़्यादा आता है। इसके आंकड़े हम आपको कुछ ही देर में देंगे। उसके पहले बाकी खबरों पर देखते हैं और क्या हो रहा है रोड ट्रांसपोर्ट और ऑटोमोबाइल इंडस्ट्री में। Coming to the government's collection from levy of excise duty on petroleum products, these have been growing at a very fast pace. The centre's collection from the levy of excise duty on petroleum products have surged 48% in the first 4 months of the current fiscal. Data compiled by the Controller General of Accounts in the Union Finance Ministry displayed that excise duty collections between April to July 2021 have grown to over rupees 1 lakh crore from rupees 67,895 crores in the same period last year. The last week was a very busy one for the automobile industry as well, with Ford India announcing that it would be shutting its operations in the country. There was quite a flutter in the automobile segment. The Federation of Automobile Dealers Association expressed displeasure at the way things have been handled and urged the government to safeguard the interest of dealers. Meanwhile, in the automobile segment, specifically the commercial vehicle segment, Daimler India Commercial Vehicles appointed Mr. Manish Thakre as the CFO. Making the announcement, Mr. Satyakam Arya, Managing Director and CEO of Daimler India Commercial Vehicles, said, "We are pleased to welcome Manish Thakre to take up his new role at DICV. His entrepreneurial mindset, rich financial background, and digital transformation experience makes him a perfect fit for our management team. Our customers, dealers, employees, and other stakeholders will all certainly benefit from his strong knowledge of the Indian market environment as well as his vast international experience." Manish started his career with Daimler in 2000 as a fleet analyst in the USA, after which he took over several managerial roles within truck credit management of Daimler's financial services business. From 2011 to 2018, he led credit operations as part of the management team in the newly established Daimler Financial Services entity in India. Mahindra & Mahindra Financial Services, which is part of the Mahindra Group, announced the appointment of Mr. Raul Rebello as its COO with immediate effect. Raul is a career banker with nearly 2 decades of extensive work in the domain of rural banking and financial inclusions. Prior to joining Mahindra Finance, he was associated with Axis Bank Limited as EVP and Head, Rural Lending and Financial Inclusion. Speaking on Raul's appointment, Ramesh Iyer, who is the Vice President and Managing Director of Mahindra Finance, said, "It is our pleasure to welcome Raul to the leadership team of Mahindra Finance. As we work very deep into the rural market, the next 3 to 4 years could be really critical with a good rural bounce back, capitalizing on all emerging opportunities in the rural market. We are broad basing our management team to be able to handle all our new initiatives, to go really deeper and make the rural market bigger for us." Talking of progress and growth, Varuna Group, a Gurugram-based third-party logistics warehousing firm, is looking to invest around Rs 500 crores to set up 30 Grade A+ warehousing facilities across the country in the next 5 years. The company, which completed 25 years of operations in India in May this year, has at present 25 Grade A+ facilities across 28 locations in India with 1.2 million square foot of warehousing space. It has presence at over 900 locations, including its offices, warehousing, and loading-unloading points. While the company has its multi-user facilities spread across over 5 lakh square foot space, with the largest one at Rajpura in Punjab, the rest is used for dedicated storage solutions and value-added services like labeling, reverse logistics, and refurbishing via pay-per-use model. These facilities can handle loading and unloading of around 500 trucks per day. Mr. Vivek Juneja, who is the founder and managing director of the Varuna Group, said, "Currently, the customer doesn't get flexible warehousing space in India, and here we are offering flexible warehousing space and flexible trucking in between these warehouses." दोस्तों, हमने कई बार सुना है वन नेशन वन टैक्स, लेकिन क्या वाकई में इंडिया एक देश है, a single country? Maybe not, because every state has its own rules, regulations, policies, formalities, which makes it a country in its own. And not only road transport, but other industries too are facing the pinch of this. Manish Bhatnagar from SKF India echoes these sentiments. He said, "I think there is a lot of potential for exports from India. We sometimes tend to think of India as one country, but really India is 30 countries in one. There are some state governments that are very progressive and some sadly not. So we are seeing a lot of inquiries, and we are right now speaking to a number of state governments to see where we can set up new manufacturing sites." That is the context of my comment just now about some state governments being better than others. Elaborating further, Manish Bhatnagar said, "I met a chief minister of state about 3 months ago, and we had to wait 5 weeks before a response from their office. The other state governments where we go and meet the Chief Minister, while we are in that meeting, the file starts moving. So it is a very different way of looking at investments and looking at manufacturing. That is the one thing that certainly needs to change throughout the country. We need to behave as one country and not as 30 countries in one, because what really happens is that investment will then flow to those 5 or 6 progressive states, which is frankly not great for overall development of the country. The other thing we need to be careful about and be cognizant of is the infrastructure cost within the country. Our logistics spends of GDP is 14 to 15%, which is about double than any other comparable country in the world would spend, which is about 7 to 8%. And why is that? Because 70% of our freight movement is by road. We do not use trains well. We do not use our ports well. So that is the stuff that needs to change for us to really be able to start manufacturing more and more in India. दो अहम मुद्दे, एक, स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स को आगे आकर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग को प्रोत्साहन करना चाहिए, लेकिन कई स्टेट्स में ये नहीं हो पाता है. अगेन, different rules, different regulations and more importantly different attitudes. मनीष भटनागर ने एक और बहुत ही अहम मुद्दा उठाया जो है लॉजिस्टिक्स कॉस्ट का, और उन्होंने ये भी कहा कि हमें रोड ट्रांसपोर्ट से हटकर रेलवेज़ और पोर्ट्स पर ध्यान देना होगा. लेकिन क्या वाकई में रोड ट्रांसपोर्ट एक्सपेंसिव मोड ऑफ ट्रांसपोर्ट है? जी हाँ, बिल्कुल है, और शायद गवर्नमेंट को इस तरफ भी ध्यान देना होगा. हमारा फ्यूल कॉस्ट, टोल चार्जेस, ये तो है ही, लेकिन साथ ही साथ हमारे में जो इनएफिशिएंसीज हैं, नॉट बिकॉज ऑफ रोड ट्रांसपोर्ट बट बिकॉज ऑफ द कस्टमर्स एंड बिकॉज ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट, इसे बदलना होगा. हमने पहले भी कहा था, बाहर देशों में ट्रक दिन में 700 से 1000 किलोमीटर चलता है. इंडिया में आज भी ये आंकड़ा 350 से 400 किलोमीटर या शायद उससे भी कम है. नितिन गडकरी जी रोड्स तो बना रहे हैं, लेकिन क्या ट्रक्स उन पर इतने किलोमीटर दिन में चल सकते हैं? आज भी स्टेट्स के अपने चेक पोस्ट हैं, फ्लाइंग स्क्वाड्स हैं, जिनका काम सिर्फ एक है, ट्रक्स को रोकना, ड्राइवर्स को हैरेस करना और उनसे पैसे वसूल करना. इसके अलावा ये भी देखा गया है कि लोडिंग अनलोडिंग पॉइंट्स पर कितने डिलेज हैं. हमने पिछले एपिसोड में बताया था कैसे ट्रक ड्राइवर 1 हफ्ते से 10 दिन तक दिल्ली इंटरनेशनल एयरपोर्ट के कार्गो टर्मिनल पर खड़े थे क्योंकि उनका ट्रक अनलोड होना था. अगर ऐसे ही डिलेज होते रहे तो हम कहाँ से ये पॉसिबल कर पाएंगे कि रोड ट्रांसपोर्ट एफिशिएंट हो और कॉस्ट इफेक्टिव हो? क्या किसी ट्रेन को ट्रैक्स पर रोका जाता है चेकिंग के लिए? क्या यार्ड्स पर लोडिंग अनलोडिंग के डिलेज होते हैं? वी डू नॉट से दैट रोड ट्रांसपोर्ट शुड बी गिवन प्रेफरेंशियल ट्रीटमेंट, बट रोड ट्रांसपोर्ट डेफिनेटली नीड्स टू बी ट्रीटेड एट पार विथ रेलवेज एज वेल एज सीवेज. हम उम्मीद करते हैं और प्रार्थना करते हैं हमारे ट्रांसपोर्ट मिनिस्टर नितिन गडकरी जी से कि वो रोड ट्रांसपोर्ट को वो फैसिलिटीज़ दें जो रेलवेज और सीवेज को मिलती हैं. वी आर नॉट आस्किंग फॉर द मून, वी आर ओनली आस्किंग दैट रोड ट्रांसपोर्ट शुड गेट ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस एंड बैरियर फ्री मूवमेंट अक्रॉस इंडिया. ये इस देश का ख्वाब था कि जब जीएसटी आएगा तो सारे चेक पोस्ट हट जाएंगे. कई चेक पोस्ट हटे भी हैं, लेकिन उनके जगह पर फ्लाइंग स्क्वाड्स हैं जो आज भी ट्रक को रोकते हैं, ड्राइवर्स को परेशान करते हैं. दोस्तों, रोड ट्रांसपोर्ट देश के लिए उतना ही अहम है जितना कोई और इंडस्ट्री. मैं एक बार फिर दोहराता हूँ कि हम रोज़ जो खाना खाते हैं वो रोड ट्रांसपोर्ट की बदौलत है. रेलवेज चाहे आपके सिटी तक सामान ले आए, लेकिन आपके घर तक सामान रोड ट्रांसपोर्ट पहुँचाता है. लेट्स होप द गवर्नमेंट अवेकन्स टू दिस फैक्ट and focuses on making road transport efficient and competitive with railways as well as seaways. दोस्तों, कैपिटल की बात करते हुए हाल ही में हमने सुना था कि स्क्रैपिंग पॉलिसी आ रही है. गवर्नमेंट recently announced a scrapping policy, but besides the scrapping policy, there are other rules which are applicable in states, especially the capital. हमने पहले भी कहा था दोस्तों, India as one country is only a namesake thing, whereas we are a bunch of different countries, each having their own rules. दिल्ली गवर्नमेंट के ट्रांसपोर्ट डिपार्टमेंट ने हाल ही में वहाँ के लोगों को एडवाइस किया है कि वो 15 साल के ऊपर की पेट्रोल गाड़ियाँ और 10 साल के ऊपर की डीजल व्हीकल्स स्टेट में नहीं चलाएं। In a public notice, the department clarified that although registration certificates of all types of vehicles are valid for 15 years, a diesel vehicle cannot ply in Delhi that is over 10 years. दोस्तों, इसका सबसे ज़्यादा असर पड़ता है ट्रक्स और कमर्शियल व्हीकल्स पे। आज हमारे जो ट्रक हैं, अगर आप एक बड़ा ट्रक लें, उसकी कीमत 30 लाख के ऊपर है और फ्रेट रेट्स कितने हैं ये हम सब जानते हैं। It takes 7 to 8 years to merely recover the cost of the truck. So is road transport a viable business? We need to think, the government needs to think on its policies before taking such decisions. अगर आज के ट्रक BS6 हैं, which are supposed to be good for the environment or rather not as bad as BS3 and BS4 trucks, why put a time limit of 10 years on them? At a cost of 30 lakhs, we are sure these trucks would do better even after 10 years. Or at least the government should go on the policy where it decides the fitness of the truck and not just the age. हम उम्मीद करते हैं कि NGT जिसका ये ऑर्डर है कि दिल्ली में 10 साल के ऊपर की डीजल व्हीकल्स नहीं अप्लाई कर सकें, वो अपने डिसीजन को रिकन्सिडर करें, क्योंकि अब BS6 ट्रक्स आ चुके हैं जो ज़्यादा एफिशिएंट है, लेस पोल्यूटिंग है, एंड द NGT शुड रिमेंबर दैट इट इज़ एक्सपेंसिव एज वेल. We hope the government and NGT will discuss this and take appropriate action accordingly. Friends, that's it from the news segment for this week. दोस्तों, पिछले हफ्ते हम बात कर रहे थे चिराग कटीरा और जिहान कोटवाल से, जहां हमने जाना कि वो इस इंडस्ट्री के बारे में क्या सोचते हैं और इस इंडस्ट्री के लिए वो क्या कर रहे हैं. In today's episode, we will talk about what are the future plans of these two youngsters, and you will be gladly surprised to know that both these youngsters think that this industry has a bright future and the company will be on the path to growth. Here's continuing our discussion with Chirag and Jehaan.
Chirag, transport associations, what we have seen since many years is every time the diesel price goes up, we write a letter to the government and we think our job is done. Do transport associations need to educate their members that your freight rate should be in direct connect to your operating cost? Should that education be going out from transport associations at all level, be it all India or state or city? Does that need to happen?
100% this is the need of the time right now. So people need to educate it because a lot of transporters are not aware of the mathematics, the calculation. What they believe is diesel का खर्चा आदमी का पगार मतलब हो गया हमारा costing. But there are 100 hidden costs which they need to be aware of, like, you know, may it be like a tire puncture, then toll tax and different corruption. We all know how much corruption is involved in the road movement also. So all these parameters, when we count and when we calculate, actually that time we realize. And what is the good about the organized player is organized player don't go for the lower freights because they have the real maths. And where the people, the unorganized players, you can call them a Chalak Malak himself, they're not so good in the business and they don't know the actual maths what is happening. Because when he's traveling from, say, Delhi to Mumbai, he has to fill 3-4 times and the diesel rates do vary. But he doesn't have that calculation for him. अच्छा 90 रुपये में भरा है तो आगे भी 90 ही होगा, आगे जाके 92 हो गया तो अब क्या करेंगे, आगे जाके 93 हो गया तो and this is why these people are getting washed very easily. एक छोटा सा wave आ गया and they are out of the business because they don't have actual maths, they don't know the calculation, and they are only competing with the other transporters, and because of them the freight rates are not increasing. But once we educate, we teach them the formula कि ये फॉर्मूला है, आपको ये मैथ्स करना है, बेसिक फार्मूला यही है और इस पे ही बिजनेस होगा और आप फ्रेट रेट डिसाइड करो. Definitely this can bring a very big change and very big revolution, and it will also help them to survive and not to, like, you know, get the business for any rate. Like, you know, right now what these people are doing, they're just killing each other. They don't know the maths and they're doing business in the losses.
Chirag, you're perhaps the youngest member in team AIMTC currently.
Yeah.
So how do you plan to bring changes? Do you think there are shortcomings which need to be corrected?
a lot of things need to be corrected in the industry. Not only there are few, I think a lot of
No,
things
I meant in AIMTC specifically. In the working of AIMTC, do you think some corrections are required?
See, I think, corrections, maybe we can implement a lot of IT in the, right now, whatever in the association, a lot of things we can do with the softwares, programs, and we can educate members with the IT. But definitely, see, again, passion comes with experience also. Passion needs experience. So definitely things are very much on place right now in the AMTC. So, but yeah, see, again, as we are seeing, the technology is also updating, growing, industry is changing, revolution is happening in the industry everywhere we are seeing. So yeah, in the association, not only AMTC, but every association needs to upgrade with time. So it's a part of, you can say, the part of the industry and association also.
Jehaan, while Chirag has been in BGTA, AIMTC and various other places, you are more content doing your bit for the transport industry, be it for drivers, through your NGO or whatever things. Any reason why you are away from these associations?
He only tells me, don't join.
So maybe Chirag can answer why is he keeping him away?
No, but what do you call...
Is it a conscious decision to stay away?
So, yes, obviously. I think for me, honestly, I think the idea is very simple, and we discuss this all the time, that there is one thing where you can try and do, which is, you have guys like Chirag, and you have guys even in Abhishek, etc., and AITWA and all, who are all already there, and they're trying to make their own version and their own difference. For me, what do you call... I don't understand, these structures very well. And like I said, I just speak what's on my mind, and I don't have that way of dealing with them in that sense. But that being said, I'm always open to work with any of them in whatever way we can. I've realized that it's best to not complain. See, transport is everybody. I can always say XYZ kuch nahi kar raha hai, but मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ? What am I doing? So the question is, if before pointing a finger at anybody and saying you are not doing your XYZ job as an organization, what am I doing as an organization? So I think fundamentally, if each of us start doing, even for our own drivers, forget other drivers, you don't need this kind of stuff. So that being said, I personally not been to this because I'm honestly very focused in the road safety piece. Their agendas are more nationalistic in nature. For them, a lot like e-way bills, like GST, to everything comes into that gamut. Whereas I want to focus only on reducing road accidents and how can I make sure that nobody dies on the Indian roads because of this reason.
Chirag, what are your future expansion plans, given the current scenario? I mean, are you looking at expanding your business or sustaining? How do you plan to go ahead?
So with JFK, we're just trying to, make sure that we kind of sail through this, and we wanted to build 1,000 vehicles fleet, but given the scenario, it doesn't make sense at this point to become more asset heavy. From the foundation and our social venture point of view, there we're looking at growing this to at least 30,000 drivers this year, and then slowly, steadily building that to 2 to 4 lakh drivers in the next coming year's time. The idea is that, to make sure that the truck drivers become safer, are taken care of, looked after, and that's what we want to do. So I'm moving more towards technology and asset-light solutions rather than building my fleet and, just being one of the many 100 players who have 1,000 vehicles.
Chirag, what are your future plans? Where do you plan to take SNGT from here on?
So right now my whole focus is like whatever comes to Nasik has to come through me. Be it from any state or any place of India.
Monopoly.
Monopoly. Yeah, but I just want, that's my goal right now. So, and we have also started air cargo services with a partnership with TrueJet also. So we're doing last mile deliveries. We're also going to have like a cubicle at the Nasik airport, Uzer airport, and we're also taking care of last mile deliveries of SpiceJet in Ahmedabad and Mumbai. So we have also contracted with them. So the whole idea is to because see, I think logistics is very huge. It's too big. And बोलते हैं ना सागर के अंदर हम सिर्फ एक बूंद है. So it's a lot to do and a lot to achieve. And I do have goals. Maybe in the future I want to get into the air industry also, airlines also, air cargo deliveries. So that is the plan, and I think we are on the first step right now. So with time, we'll start from the other cities also.
Jehan, what changes would you like to see in the transport ecosystem which would facilitate ease of business?
So I think the biggest change is how we deal with drivers, and I think it starts from there. That's the foundation. How we pay them, how we treat them, how we insure them, all of that. That whole ecosystem is very fractured. And it's completely unregulated. So, like in CHAs, for example, or clearing, you have to do a license. You have to actually study to become a license holder. And in transport, any Tom, Dick, and Harry can come in and do it. And which is, I personally think, not a good thing. Because one is we're dealing with these death machines on the road. And also you have certain responsibilities to your ecosystem. So you can't just come in and say, "Main aaj se truck driver ban jaunga and I'll start driving." You should go through a course. You should go through proper training. You should be doing literally a half a year or 1 year study before you even touch the wheel. So I think if we even start from the driver point of view and then create that whole thing, everything else will fall in line. Then obviously maths, like he said, will be taught correctly to the drivers who are becoming fleet owners. A proper, structured licensing thing where if somebody does anything unethical, he's blacklisted from the system. He's not allowed to go to another company or XYZ. So we need more regulation. It's completely unregulated right now, and that's why there's so many gaps. Would be my first step.
Chirag, parcel transportation is considered to be a very complicated affair. What things you would like to see that would help you make this business easier and profitable also?
So right now my whole focus is to upgrade myself and implement more and more technology. So I think a lot of parcel companies have already shifted themselves into computerized and ERP, and people are changing now. People are learning from each other. And parcel industry needs that IT platform with them, because without technology, parcel cannot be delivered in a easy and smooth. And again, our customers really demand a lot of transparency and communication. So that is only possible when you have technology. So definitely, and right now the current trend is barcode system and auto messaging and a lot of information to be real-time information to be shared with the customers. And again, the focus right now, what we are into. So again, door-to-door delivery models in the parcel industry. Because a lot of people are just giving go down deliveries, but they should also start with door-to-door services, because again there is a margin of door delivery also, and that is the need of an hour right now. Because when we see Amazon, Flipkart, all these people they're a logistics player. When you see you're buying something, but you're not buying something from them, you're buying on their portal and they are just delivering it. They are a transport company itself, they are a logistics company. So we need to understand what game they are playing, and accordingly maybe we can replicate or learn from them, and we should go for the door-to-door service. And I think once you get into this door-to-door service, you will be you'll have a good margin also, and you'll be a preference.
One question to both of you. Is your company currently making profits?
Mine, yes.
Mine, no.
Fair enough. Okay, what would be your advice to youngsters who do not want to join the transport business? Of course, you wouldn't advocate them to join. Chirag, what about those who want to join? Any piece of advice for them?
Definitely, this is a very good industry, and जो पहले हुआ करता था when I joined that time, industry was very unorganized, and that time थोड़ा अलग pattern से काम होता है, traditional pattern था वो, but now things have really changed. Now we see the transporters are very much working on the technology also, and people have changed a lot. There's a big revolution in that generation, this generation, and again the times have changed. I think in last 5 years, the industry has completely revolutionized. It's completely changed. So definitely now this is a good industry to join in, and it's more like a good sector, जहाँ पे respect भी है. And now what we are seeing also, a lot of startups are getting into our industry. So yes, they should be part of this industry, and पहले की तरह बुरा नहीं है. It's completely changed.
Jehan, you are still on track for your 1,000 truck goal?
So it's been on hold since COVID, I can tell you that. That being said, my team's excellent. They're pretty much, we're still continuing to buy 2 to 3 vehicles every month, and that's happening. But I feel fundamentally, that's kind of we're transitioning to better fleet, more safer fleet, etc. And I don't think that the youngsters should not come. I think they should, definitely. If anything, what I'm against is that they should come in with proper training. They shouldn't replicate what their dads have done. I think what Chirag's, when he came and he brought in so much transformation, right? And so we need more guys like him. So I think fundamentally we should have more youngsters. If anything, even our organizations, associations should have, youngsters as well. We should not have, it should be a 50-50 at least. It's right now a 5 and 95. So that's probably why the things aren't moving at the speed at which we would want it to move. But it's a matter of time. It happened.
दोस्तों, इस हफ्ते के लिए इतना ही हमारी तरफ से, लेकिन अगले हफ्ते हम आपके लिए लेके आ रहे हैं एक बहुत ही खास इंटरव्यू. We shall be talking to Mr. Jalaj Gupta, who is the Commercial Vehicle Business Unit Head of Mahindra and Mahindra, and we will be talking to him exclusively right inside the plant where various Mahindra trucks are manufactured, including Blazo and Furio. Keep watching Trans India, Real People, Real Emotions, and before we go, please do not forget to subscribe to our channel and share it with people you know in the road transport and commercial vehicle industry. Jai Hind.
FY19, which is financial year 18-19, was the year when the commercial vehicle industry was the highest in last 10 odd years. On the biggest challenge that we had during the pandemic and even now also as we are ramping up our volumes is the dealer profitability part.
Friends, next week we will be back with you. So keep watching Trans India, Real People, Real Emotions, and before you leave us, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Let's grow and let's make a future for this industry.